The core issue that I've found within the metal building envelope in our industry has been not abiding by hygrothermal dynamics. Hygrothermal dynamics, simply stated, is looking at the factors of airflow, heat, and moisture within the metal building. It's important because obviously you don't want condensation inside the metal building, and how you manage that is through managing the heat. And how you control the heat inside a building is by incorporating a custom ventilation system. Hygrothermal dynamics is important because it'll help you stay away from hot, stagnant air in the workplace. It'll combat moisture and condensation accumulating on your insulation, causing it to degrade, and it'll help vent out noxious fumes, keeping a safe workplace for your workers. Condensation is when moist, warm air comes in contact with a cool surface. Here in Texas, we see it a lot. We often say that we drink our air because there's so much moisture in our air. So how you combat that is through ventilation. Our products that we sell, our ventilators, which are the exhaust element, and our louvers, which are the intake element, all have their own individual CFM. CFM stands for cubic feet per minute. That's how much air each unit is going to move every minute. Now, our sales representatives can calculate both exhaust and intake in order to formulate what the ACH is going to be, which is air changes per hour. That's how much air is going to be refreshed through the building cavity every hour. Now, when it comes to a custom ventilation system, our sales representatives are not only going to take into account CFM and ACH, they're going to take in a myriad of other factors too, like geographical location. Do you have major bay doors in your metal building? All these things can be attributed to the application that's being used of the building. Are there workers inside? Are there corrosive chemicals being used inside or being manufactured? These are all things that we can use to formulate the best custom ventilation system for you to keep your building healthy, safe, and have a long life. So all those issues aside, the main issue that I can see is that there's this misunderstanding that you either need to insulate a building or ventilate it, when actually both those systems are symbiotic to each other. They both work together. We've seen studies with a large increase of insurance claims, mostly due to the insulation that's been failing. Well, it's failing because the condensation is eating it away. How you keep that from happening, like we just discussed, is with airflow. Incorporating airflow into the metal building will not only increase the comfortable temperatures your workers will experience, but it'll increase the performance and longevity of the insulation and the building as a whole. Now, why it's important to balance out the CFMs from your louvers and vents would be to discuss if you have too many louvers, you have too much intake per the exhaust, right? So you're gonna underutilize the system that you just purchased, wasting money, essentially. But if it's the inverse, where you have too much exhaust or vents and too little intake, which would be our louvers, you could be creating a negative pressure situation. Negative pressure being where the pressure in the building is much lower than outside the building, and that's gonna force air, weather if it's raining, inside the building through the top where you don't want it to come from. So another way you could be creating a negative pressure situation is by incorporating additional ventilation systems or air systems that conflict with your natural ventilation system. So if you have ridge vents and louvers, great on you. But if you have a large rotary industrial fan right below your ridge line, you're basically gonna be pulling air from outside the top of the building through the vents and forcing it down, conflicting with the nice cool air from circulating through the building. Also, if you have powered ventilators on the sides of your building, that will kind of interrupt the hygrothermal dynamic principle and airflow within the building and not netting you the best results. If you're experiencing any of these issues, whether it's a hot, stagnant workplace environment, or maybe you notice some condensation building up on the insulated wall panels, or maybe you already have a ventilation system and you're experiencing some negative pressure issues, you can start by checking to open up all the louvers and vents to see if everything self-corrects. If not, call Metallic Products. We're ready and willing to help you with a custom ventilation solution. It starts by having a discussion, asking some questions, so we can get to the root cause of the problem and get you what you need to help your building perform better and last longer. For more information or assistance, please go to mpvent.com.